Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're coming from. My name is Christina Keogh, and I am the Campus Dean of the Nelson Pointer Memorial Library at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg campus. I'm very happy to welcome you to today's important discussion, Information Conservation as Resistance, How Ukrainian Libraries Document and Preserve Past and Present Experiences During the War. Today's event is part of programming in support of the exhibition, Children Make War, Not Flowers, now on view here in the Pointer Library Gallery on the USF St. Petersburg campus through March 21st. So we welcome all of you who might be in the area to visit us to view the exhibition. I would like to start by thanking Dr. Ulia Gosart, Sarah Clare, and Dr. Anthony Chow from San Jose State University's iSchool for generously sharing these materials documenting youth experiences of the war in Ukraine. And big thanks also to Mr. Mazzy Ferguson, Director from USF's Office of University Community Partnerships, for connecting us to Ulia and her colleagues and ensuring this new partnership is a success. Now, I'd like to turn things over to Ms. Shauna Durchi, USF's Digital Scholarship Librarian and the co-chair of the One USF Libraries Service Committee, which is co-hosting today's event. Shauna, it's up to you.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening for our visitors. Thank you, Christina. My name is Shauna Durchi, and I am really excited to be able to be a part of this. This is our second event with Dr. Ulia Gosart of San Jose State University School of Information. Our collaboration emerged from the exhibition of the Ukrainian children's artwork, Children Draw War Not Flowers. Our first event was an in-person discussion of the art exhibit and a tour, as well as a viewing of the programs or the project's expanded exhibition in a VR environment. So our partner who made all of this possible is Dr. Ulia Gosart. She is a scholar, writer, and human rights activist. She received her BA from Kyiv University of Culture and Arts in Ukraine, and her PhD is from UCLA. So since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, she supports Ukrainian libraries by fundraising, thematic events, and publishing. And of course, she has worked so hard to bring awareness of the important work that Ukrainian librarians and archivists are doing for their country, their people, and their culture. So I'm going to hand it off to Ulia, but I do want to note we will be reserving about 15 minutes at the end for questions, the Q&A. If you have questions, please, you can drop your questions in the Q&A. We will be monitoring that. And if we have, we'll have people handling all of that. And of course, you guys can chat with each other in the chat. So, Ulia.
Thank you, Шана. Добрий вечір. Дякую, що знайшли час підключитися. Я дуже рада, що наші партнери з Флориди нас підтримують. І ми разом з нашим університетом у Каліфорнії та з університетом на Флориді ми це все організували. То я дуже дякую нашим партнерам. Це все буде англійською мовою, але ми маємо декілька презентацій обидва мовами. І це буде не так довго, але ми будемо мати презентації у запису, то якщо треба, і ми це все записуємо, я можу потім поділитися через своєю поштою і все, то, будь ласка, пишіть, і я поділюся всіми записами після цього семінару. І зараз я англійською мовою і зачитаю вітання від нашого шефа, бо мій шеф сьогодні в Аризоні, він не може з нами тут бути сьогодні. То, good morning, everyone. I am Yulia, and I'm very thankful for our support from University of South Florida and Anthony Chow, Director of School of Information, unable to come, but he sends his greetings, and let me read the greetings to you as a kickoff start. Good morning, welcome to today's symposium, says Dr. Chow. I regret that I cannot join you live, but I have been called to a special Institute of Museum and Library Services meeting in Arizona, and I want to express my deep appreciation for everyone here today. I also want to thank Yulia for her vision and leadership in supporting Ukrainian people. This event is a testament to the critical role libraries play in preserving cultural memory, historical truth, and resilience in time of crisis. Ukrainian libraries have become not only repositories of knowledge, but also bastions of resistance, ensuring that present and past experiences are documented and safeguarded for future generations. I hope today's discussion inspire continued efforts in archival preservation, information access, and global solidarity in protecting the historical record. Thank you all for being part of this important conversation. Have a great symposium. Дякую, Anthony. Now I would like to invite our first speaker, Oksana Brul, President of Ukrainian Library Association and Director General of
Deputy Director General.
Deputy Director General of Yaroslav Mudryi Library in Kyiv. Oksana, будь ласка.
Thank you, Yulia. Hello, everyone, dear friends and colleagues. I'm happy to be here and speak about Ukrainian libraries and our work. Thank you for this opportunity, our American colleagues. Thank you. For more than 10 years, Ukraine has been at war that Russia started in 2014. But nobody chooses the time in which they live. We live here and now, and we will have no other time. History is being made today, and the future is being created today. Our job in libraries, museums, and archives as institutions of memory is to preserve history so that future generations will remember and such war will never happen again. And what our future will look like depends on each and every one of us. Today, we are paying a very high price for the freedom and independence of Ukraine, for the existence of Ukrainians as a nation, for our future and the future of the entire civilized world. This price is the life and health of our defenders on the front lines and the life and health of civilians who are killed every day by Russia. Please observe a minute of silence in memory of all the victims. Thank you. We must do everything in our power to ensure that such a high price is not in vain. So each of us is doing our best to bring victory closer. And we are grateful to our friends and colleagues from other countries for the great support you have given us all this time. Without your support, it would have been 1,000 times harder for us. Thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce you to the digital archive of Ukrainian libraries. I'll share my Sorry, just a minute. This is a good example of partnership between Ukrainian and American library professionals and scholars on creating an archive about Ukrainian libraries during the Russian-Ukrainian War. Librarians and researchers from the School of Information of San Jose State University and Department of Library and Information Science and Penn West Clarion University are involved in its creation on the American side. I would like to thank you, American colleagues, especially Ulia Gosart and Rhonda Clark. On the Ukrainian side, the Ukrainian Library Association and the Yaroslav Mudryi National Library of Ukraine are involved. Ulia Gosart, assistant professor, School of Information, San Jose State University, approached us with the idea to create an archive. The initial idea was to create a digital archive that would present evidence of the destruction and loss of Ukrainian libraries. Unfortunately, it's really many libraries have been destroyed or damaged by Russian missiles and shelling. Many libraries lost their collections, computing and technical equipment, etc., etc. We know about more than 1,000 public libraries were destroyed and damaged, and 194 libraries had been completely destroyed. It is not only public libraries, but other also destroyed and damaged. Among the national and state libraries are Yaroslav Mudryi National Library of Ukraine, Vinnytsia National Library of Ukraine, National Medical Library, and Korolenko Kharkiv State Scientific Library, which suffered the most. Also, more than 25 university libraries are damaged and destroyed. And about 316 libraries, school libraries. Of course, library collections, including rare books, are also under threat. As a result of the Russian armed aggression, more than 4.5 million items of the library collections were lost. And unfortunately, now we know about 13 library workers who have been killed by Russia since 2014. Of course, during this war, our libraries are suffering great losses. But during the war, our librarians are also leaders in their communities. They are examples of resilience and strength of spirit, and librarians help people overcome the challenges of war. I can talk a lot about this, but this is a topic for another conversation. So later in discussions with our American colleagues, we decided that we would also place such materials in the archive on leadership and the work of libraries and librarians to overcome the challenges of war in communities, in their communities. The archive is built on Omeka, open source software, and uses Dublin Core as its metadata standard. In my perspective, it's an advantage as it uses a standard solution for building digital libraries that can be easily integrated with other similar systems. It was Rhonda Clark who worked so well with Omeka that we have a great archive today. Thank you, Rhonda, again. The archive consists of collections that are divided into regions. Here you can see some examples. In the future, Kherson libraries, Mykolaiv, Chernihiv libraries, Kharkiv libraries. In the future, we plan to create additional thematic collections. As for types of materials, the basis will be texts, images, and videos. Each document will be annotated. Currently, the archive is in the process of being finalized by our American colleagues. After completion, the archive will be transferred to the management of the Yaroslav Mudryi National Library of Ukraine. Now, how will the content be filled? We'll discuss this further, of course. For now, we envision that libraries will be able to provide content on a regional basis, taking on the appropriate role on the ground. There are 3 levels of archive creators. The first, depositor, describes the metadata and places the objects in the buffer zone in the database. Depositors can be employees of specific libraries after trainings. The second, editor. Editor checks the objects placed in the buffer zone for compliance with the rules, publishes the record for public access. Editors will be librarians of regional universal scientific libraries or other libraries that are ready. They are responsible for specific collections of the database. And one more role, creators, supervisor. Supervisor monitors the correctness of the database content, creates new collections and sections, maintains the database, user interface, etc. It will be the Yaroslav Mudryi National Library of Ukraine. A good tool of this resource is the ability to create separate thematic online exhibitions. It will be here, but not now. And one more, the map. A map showing a map showing libraries with materials in the archive. Of course, we will discuss everything beforehand and conduct appropriate training. And if necessary, we will make adjustments and change something. This is the main things I wanted to tell you about this resource. Once again, I would like to thank our American colleagues for their initiative and for creating this archive as a ready-made tool for Ukrainian librarians. It's really important for us, and we really appreciate your support and your efforts to help us. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Дякую, Oksana. Thank you. We will have a short period of time for Q&A, and you can send Q&A questions using our Q&A session. But at the moment, let me introduce our second speaker, Natalia Petrenko. Natalia Petrenko is director of Korolenko Kharkiv State Scientific Library, and her presentation is on documentation. Пані Наталі, я просто включаю відео, так?
Так, hello everyone, greetings from Kharkiv, і thank you за запрошення. Перепрошую.
Добре, дякую, що ви підключилися. Дуже приємно вас бачити.
Навзаєм.
Archiving of documents about the war in conditions of uncertainty, experience of the Korolenko Kharkiv State Scientific Library. Realizing the importance of preserving historical memory and countering disinformation. From the first days of the war, the staff of the Korolenko Kharkiv State Scientific Library joined the documentation of Russia's war crimes. Library specialists launched their own multi-platform project, Libraries of Kharkiv Region under Martial Law, a chronology of library resistance, and took part in the Ukrainian Library Association's project, Archiving Documents about the War. This initiative brought together 51 librarians from 17 regions of Ukraine to preserve evidence of the Russian-Ukrainian War and create a joint collection of documents. It was determined the list of categories of documents that should have been archived: texts, images, videos, channels for archiving, official websites of institutions and organizations, social media pages of famous personalities, experts, leaders in the profession, writers, artists, online media resources, and the structure of folders and sample document descriptions were developed. Archiving began under conditions of uncertainty with an emergency collection of documents. In order to ensure their long-term storage, the Ukrainian Library Association signed a memorandum with the American company Portico, which allowed for free storage of archived documents on its servers. The materials collected during 2022 to 2023 were accumulated in thematic folders that chronicled the events of the Russian-Ukrainian War, international support, cultural resistance, personal stories of Ukrainians, the volunteer movement, and statements by Ukrainian politicians and civil servants. Access to this digital collection was not provided to the general public. In 2023, a decision was made to create an open archive of documents of the Russian-Ukrainian War. Our library, as one of the leading methodological centers in Ukraine and an active participant in archiving, led this important project. A working group was created from the library's leading specialists to further implement it. It was necessary to choose the optimal platform for providing access to the digital archive. Due to the lack of off-the-shelf software that could fully meet the project's objectives, it was decided to develop our own software product. The functionality of the developed platform made it possible to store and manage documents. It allowed operators to customize the necessary fields, upload files in various formats, PDF, JPEG, MP4, enter and edit document metadata. The Dublin Core Standard was chosen to describe metadata, which allows each document to be characterized by key parameters: author, date, topic, etc. At the same time, the group worked in close cooperation with other participants to optimize storage processes. For the purpose of qualitative and quantitative analysis, elimination of duplications, and consistency of metadata of the uploaded documents, the working group decided to transfer the entire accumulated array from Portico servers to the facilities of the KKSSL. A total of 23 gigabytes was downloaded. 43,247 files, archived documents and files with metadata to them, 9,241 folders. After a thorough analysis, more than 20,000 archived documents were identified and grouped into 6 thematic areas, sections: government policy, evidence of Russian aggression, evidence of Ukrainian resistance, volunteer movement in Ukraine, international support, culture in times of war. Each section included subsections, for example, evidence of Russian aggression was divided into subsections: destruction, crimes, necrologues, efficient filling of the archive, energy independence, and autonomy of all technological processes required the project to be equipped with the necessary technical means, server storage, laptops, batteries, etc. For further development, additional funds were needed, which prompted the team of KKSSL specialists to look for extra budgetary sources and apply for participation in the grant program of the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation, short-term cultural and artistic projects. The project formation of the digital archive of documents about the Russian-Ukrainian War was supported by the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation and implemented during July-August 2024. The goal of the project was to fill the digital platform and of the grant project and the size of the team, it was planned to transfer 2,300 documents to the digital platform of the archive. The materials were selected according to the following criteria: the availability of the most complete metadata and the high quality of the saved files. When selecting archiving channels, preference was given to open internet resources, official websites of public authorities, and their pages on social networks, as well as publications from verified media. The chronological limits of archiving were determined: February 24, 2022, November 2023. It should be noted that at the beginning of the project, the team was expanded by 7 members. The increase in the number of archiving operators made it possible to transfer 4,265 documents to the platform. New thematic subsections were created when filling the digital archive. For example, in the section Government Policy, there are subsections Statements and Appeals of Ukrainian Politicians and Civil Servants, Activities of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Restoration of Settlements and Locations, Decommunization, Decolonization, State Assistance to the Population, Prisoner Exchange, Awards and Honors, Support for Veterans, Return of Children, and the information in the section Evidence of Ukrainian Resistance is detailed by subsections Activities of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Civilian Resistance, Activities of the Security Service of Ukraine, Information Resistance, Exposing Fakes and Manipulations. In the section International Support, the subsections International Cooperation, Support by Foreign Organizations. Despite the difficult conditions caused by the full-scale invasion, air raids, shelling, and power outages, all project tasks were completed. The archive's website is deployed on our library server. Its web interface is intuitive and easy to use, and the functionality of searching for documents by title, author, source, keywords, and publisher has been implemented. Information about the archive is available in various sections of the library's website. The relevance and significance of the archive is confirmed by its attendance. 29,505 requests were recorded in 6 months. Currently, the project is developing. The processes of retro and current archiving are being improved. The archive's website is being updated, and the circle of project participants and partners is expanding. Trainings and seminars are held for new archive operators. Today, we already have the experience of effective cooperation in posting links to related initiatives. A separate page has been created on the archive's website, which presents partner projects dedicated to documenting the events of the war. Thus, the experience gained by the project participants proved that Ukrainian librarians effectively overcome wartime challenges, are able to be flexible and adapt to the complex and unpredictable conditions of war. The digital archive has become a platform that united the efforts of the Ukrainian library community in creating an accessible and globally oriented resource for preserving documentary evidence of the Russian-Ukrainian War.
Дякую, пані Наталя, за вашу презентацію. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We have to move forth with our presentations, and unfortunately, our next presenter, Tatiana Svatula from Kherson, was unable to join. Kherson continues to be under shelling, and internet connections are abrupt and difficult. So we will watch a shorter presentation that I help to put together to be able to fit the limits of our seminar. So I'm gonna start it. Пані Наталя, дякую. Bibliocide in Kherson region, documenting crimes of Russia against Ukrainian culture. Kherson region is a unique region of Ukraine. In a short time, almost all of the territory was occupied. The right bank in green lived through almost 9 months of occupation and currently under constant shelling. In 2 years, more than 500,000 times the region was shelled. The left bank in red is still under Russian occupation. Before the war, in 49 territorial communities of Kherson, 386 public libraries functioned, including 290 village libraries. The war changed that, with a lot of libraries being destroyed. Kherson Regional Universal Library began documenting crimes against libraries since the beginning of the war. But since 2024, the library intensified the work on documenting Russian crimes in the project Libraries of Kherson Region, Russia's Crimes Against Ukrainian Culture. This project is to demonstrate to the world evidence of the cultural genocide and destruction of Ukrainian cultural identity by Russia in Kherson region. Librarians use different means of collecting information for this project. Personal correspondence, memories, photos, and interviews with librarians, pages of libraries and individual correspondence is used. In the occupied region, librarians monitor Telegram channels to be able to see what is happening in the region. And the publication in the Ukrainian professional press has also been consulted. The project exists in 2 forms. One is the documentary exposition that operates in real time. And these are pictures of the exposition taking place in Kyiv. And another form is the virtual museum of the library website that exists on the library website, and the English language version is coming. Let us see some of the evidence of cultural genocide against libraries. We'll start with the green part from 2022 until today. This is the region that survived 9 months of the occupation and now free. Because of the war, only 6% of the libraries of the right bank region are not ruined. 20% of the libraries completely ruined and cannot be renewed. These are some of the images of the libraries that had been destroyed. Russian military was stationed in public libraries, and occupiers often turned libraries into dumping grounds. Some windows were shut from the inside. Almost all rural libraries lost material resources, primarily computers, because libraries were severely looted. In rural libraries, all the publications in Ukrainian were destroyed in part or completely. Libraries also used as hiding places for the snipers, which also led to the destruction of the building. Since the occupation, the right bank has been under constant shelling, and the number of destroyed libraries continues to still grow. Kherson Regional Universal Library was one of the libraries that was destroyed under the targeted missile attack. It was destroyed in 2023. Pictures before and after. Libraries also lost books, and 21% of libraries lost completely their books, and only 20% of libraries actually did not lose their funds. And these are images of the destructions of the collections. These are pictures of the books that were shattered, including Shevchenko books, cultural and historical important figure in Ukraine. And now we're going to look at the Lab Bank of Kherson, and this is in red. And since 2022, on the right bank of Kherson, 268 public libraries existed, including 210 of village libraries. According to the available information, this part of Kherson region, library-wise, was not as much affected, though some libraries also lost their funds and lost their buildings. It's very difficult to monitor the state of libraries in this region because it's dangerous and occupiers are constantly checking phones. Houses are searched and laptops are checked. Also, there is Ukrainian communication and internet is completely blocked. Also, some of the employees actually have gone on the side of the occupiers and many have left. What we are observing in Lab Bank Kherson, though, is a different way of destruction of libraries, is when libraries are turned into centers of propaganda. And libraries for the Russian administration had been a very important entities to impose what is called Russian world, Russian mirror, or to integrate Ukrainian children and Ukrainian citizens into the Russian environment. And in fact, the first deputy of the Russian presidential administration is overseeing this and taking control of the libraries of the Lab Bank of Kherson. Youth is targeted more than anyone. Propaganda channels in occupied communities are working to integrate and work with children, with youth, and to integrate them into the Russian environment. Russian narratives about the Nazis in Ukraine are actively spread, and distorted information about Ukraine and Ukrainian history has been actively disseminated. Success of Russian economy is obviously spread, as well as Russian holidays that make Russia look great. Russian calendar of holidays has been imposed on the military, obviously, military in particular. Another way of destroying Ukrainian libraries is destruction of Ukrainian books. And the Ukrainian destruction of the books is a cultural and ethnographic genocide. And first, there's a special order of the Ministry of Culture of Kherson region that makes people search for extreme myth literature and destroy it and bring the literature from Russia to replenish library collections. And these are some of the samples of the books that are brought to Russia. In fact, Russia, according to available information, is actively investing into bringing books. Over 200 million rubles have already been allocated from the budget to bring the books and to publish the books. And in 2023 alone, 87 public libraries of the land bank, Kherson received more than 73,000 copies of books by direct order of the Russian president. In 2024 alone, libraries in the occupied part of Kherson received books worth of 50 million rubles. Kherson Regional Universal Scientific Library continues to document Russia crimes in the region and is very grateful to American people for their comprehensive support of Ukrainian people. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Unfortunately, Pani Tatiana could not join us today, but a week ago, my student and I, we started a new fundraiser to help Honcharivka Kherson Universal Regional Library to rebuild their collection for the blind. And I'll share in the chat if you guys want to donate or help. We just started this just to collect some money to help them to rebuild this collection. Our last presentation is from Vinnytsia. Let me just start it, and Pani Galina could not join us today, unfortunately, as well. I hope everything is well with her, but let me start our last presentation, and it's going to be in two languages, in Ukrainian and Russian, in Ukrainian and English.
Добрий день, шановні колеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues.
Вас вітає Вінницька обласна універсальна наукова бібліотека імені Валентина Отамановського. Наша бібліотека є загальнодоступним центром інформації, освіти, культури. Ми маємо понад 110-річний досвід роботи. Щорічно обслуговуємо біля 40 тисяч користувачів, до послуг яких майже мільйонний бібліотечний фонд.
Greetings from the Vinnytsia Regional Universal Scientific Library named after Valentino Tamanovsky. Our library serves as a public center for information, education, and culture, with over 110 years of experience in the field. Each year, we serve approximately 40,000 users, offering access to a collection of nearly 1 million library resources.
Сьогодні бібліотеки відіграють важливу роль у збереженні національної пам'яті та формуванні національно-патріотичних цінностей громадян України. Особливою значущістю ці завдання набувають в умовах російської агресії, коли культурний фронт стає невід'ємною частиною загальної боротьби за незалежність та ідентичність.
Today, libraries play an important role in preserving national memory and forming national patriotic values of Ukrainian citizens. These tasks acquire particular importance in the context of Russian aggression, when the cultural front becomes an integral part of the general struggle for independence and identity.
Починаючи з 2018 року, наша бібліотека реалізує проєкт «Голоси живої історії». Бібліотекарі області збирають історичні дослідження, наративи та інтерв'ю для фіксації гарячих подій сучасної історії російсько-української війни. Починаючи з 2014 року та записуючи розповіді внутрішньо переміщених осіб і волонтерів, через суб'єктивні переживання окремої людини сприйняття історичних подій стають ближчими та зрозумілішими. Бібліотека трансформується в осередок популяризації методу усної історії, місце психологічного розвантаження та формування джерельної бази для подальших історичних та краєзнавчих досліджень.
Since 2018, our library has been implementing the project Voices of Living History. Librarians of the region have been collecting oral history research, narratives, and interviews to capture the hot events of modern history, the Russian-Ukrainian War starting in 2014, and recording the stories of internally displaced persons and volunteers. Through the subjective experience of an individual, the perception of historical events becomes closer and clearer. The library has transformed into a hub of promoting the oral history method. It has also become a space for psychological relief and a key resource for further historical and local history research.
У рамках проєкту тільки у 2018 році було зібрано понад 100 записів. Це інтерв'ю, спогади, розповіді, які суттєво доповнюють джерельну базу для розуміння подій сучасності. Нині в обласній науковій бібліотеці зберігаються свідчення учасників бойових дій, учасників Революції Гідності, також записані свідчення внутрішньо переміщених осіб та розповіді волонтерів. Згодом тематика розширилася. Своїми спогадами поділилися свідки Другої світової війни, остарбайтери, свідки Голодоморів, Голокосту та післявоєнного радянського повсякдення.
As part of this project, in 2018 alone, over 100 recordings were collected, including interviews, memoirs, and stories, significantly enriching the source base for understanding contemporary events. The Regional Scientific Library currently preserves records of testimonies for combatants, participants of the Revolution of Dignity, internally displaced persons, and volunteers. Over time, the topics of the reports have expanded. Witnesses of the Second World War, Ostarbiters, witnesses of the Holodomors, the Holocaust, and post-war Soviet everyday life share their memories.
У межах проєкту на базі відділу краєзнавства створено фонд усних свідчень. Для якісної систематизації свідчень та надання оперативного доступу до фонду започатковано електронну базу даних «Усна історія». У 2024 році стартував проєкт «Фото пам'ять».
Within the project, a fund of oral testimonies was created on the basis of the Department of Local History. For the high-quality systematization and quick access to the fund of testimonies, an electronic database oral history was launched. In 2022, a new project Photo Memory was started.
Потрібно зауважити, що до проєкту були долучені бібліотекарі публічних бібліотек регіону, які неодноразово брали участь в спеціально організованих тренінгових навчаннях з усної історії. Вони вивчали теорію та методологію усно-історичних досліджень, технічне забезпечення запису інтерв'ю, вибір респондентів та домовленості про їхню участь в проєкті, отримання згоди на оприлюднення матеріалів, формування питальників, підготовка відповідної документації, тобто це паспорт, протокол, обробка запису, його транскрибування, представлення результатів тощо. Обов'язково є дотримання професійної етики дослідників усної історії. Також ми залучаємо експертів та фахівців з усної історії.
It should be noted that the project involved librarians from public libraries in the region. They had repeatedly participated in specially organized training sessions on oral history. These sessions covered the theory and methodology of oral history research, as well as the technical aspects of recording interviews. Participants learned how to select respondents, arrange their participation in the project, obtain consent for material publication, develop questionnaires, and prepare necessary documentation, such as interview passports and protocol. They also gained skills in processing, transcribing, and presenting recorded interviews. It is mandatory to adhere to the professional ethics of oral history researchers. We also involve experts and specialists in oral history.
У 2019 та 2022 році ми знайомилися з досвідом польських колег щодо організації збору і архівування усно-історичних свідчень в межах навчальних візитів «Усна історія» та громадська архівістика. Наразі ми долучаємося до всеукраїнських проєктів з фіксування злочинів Російської Федерації на території України.
In 2019 and 2022, we explored the experience of our Polish colleagues in collecting and archiving of oral history testimonies during study visits under the program Oral History and Community Archiving. As of now, we are also participating in all Ukrainian projects aimed to record crimes of the Russian Federation in Ukraine.
Отриманий досвід надихнув на створення окремого вебсайту, мета якого зберегти та зробити доступним усні історії мешканців Вінницької області для дослідників та усіх зацікавлених, а також розширити використання усно-історичних джерел у вивченні історії України.
The experience gained inspired the creation of a dedicated website, the purpose of which is to preserve and make accessible the oral histories of the residents of Vinnytsia region for researchers and all interested individuals, as well as to expand the use of oral history sources in the study of the history of Ukraine.
Наші інтерв'ю згруповані за тематичними колекціями. Голодомор 1932-33 років, репресії, Друга світова війна, післявоєнний період відбудова, Голодомор 1946-47 років, відлига, радянське повсякдення, Незалежна Україна, національне відродження, Помаранчева революція, Революція Гідності, Українсько-російська війна. Окремі колекції поділяються на підтеми.
Our interviews are grouped into thematic collections, including Holodomor 1932-1933, Repressions, the Second World War, the Post-War Period, Reconstruction, Holodomor 1946-1947, Ukrainian Dissidents, and the Afghan War. They also cover Chernobyl in the fate of Vinnytsia residents, Soviet everyday life, independent Ukraine, national revival, Orange Revolution, Revolution of Dignity, and Ukrainian-Russian War. Separate collections are further divided into subtopics.
На веб-сайті розміщена публічна інформація про оповідача, його прізвище, ім'я, фото, короткі біографічні відомості, опис запису, відео, аудіозапис, транскрипт запису та інші матеріали. Це скани фотографій, документів тощо.
The website contains public information about the narrator, including full name, photo, brief biography, a description of the recording, video, audio recordings, transcripts, and other materials, scans of photos, documents, etc.
З веб-сайту є можливість переходу на створену відділом краєзнавства електронну базу даних «Усна історія», де наявна систематизована інформація про ці інтерв'ю, що є у фонді усно-історичних досліджень бібліотеки.
On the website, users can also access the electronic database Oral History created by the Department of Local History, which systematically organizes all interviews stored in the Oral History Research Fund.
Наразі з метою збереження конфіденційної інформації про учасників проєкту веб-сайт тимчасово закритий для користувачів. В подальшому усі інформаційні матеріали розміщуватимуться у вільному доступі. Ними зможуть користуватися як наукові співробітники, краєзнавці, дослідники, так і вчителі при проведенні уроків відповідної тематики.
At present, the website is temporarily closed to users to ensure the confidentiality of project participants. However, in the future, all information materials will be placed in free access. These resources will be useful for researchers, local historians, and educators in conducting lessons on relevant topics.
Веб-сайт слугуватиме платформою для співробітництва фахівців різних галузей, що планують працювати з такими інструментами минулого і сьогодення, як усна історія.
The website will serve as a platform for cooperation between specialists from various fields who plan to work with such a tool for studying the past and present as oral history.
Напрацювання науковців, краєзнавців, бібліотекарів з усної історії представлені на міжнародних науково-практичних конференціях, що проводяться бібліотекою кожні 2 роки, починаючи з 2014 року.
The work of scientists, local historians, and librarians on oral history are regularly presented at the international scientific and practical conferences hosted by the library every 2 years since 2015.
Наразі є важливим не лише збір усно-історичних наративів і ретельне фіксування усіх злочинів Російської Федерації у межах військової агресії на території України. Також зібрані усно-історичні свідчення є надзвичайно цінним джерелом інформації з формування історичної пам'яті як регіону, так і країни загалом.
Currently, it is important not only to collect oral historical narratives, but also to carefully record all war crimes of the Russian Federation within the framework of military aggression in Ukraine. Also, the collected oral historical testimonies are an extremely valuable resource of information for the formation of historical memory of both at the regional and national levels.
Дякую за ваш час та увагу.
Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, пані Галина. Thank you everyone who joined us today. Дякую, хто прийшов, підключився з нами. Я не знаю, чи ми маємо час на питання чи ні. Зараз попитаю. Христина, Shauna, are we having a few moments for questions or shall we close because it's almost top of the hour?
If anyone would like to, we do have two questions, and if our speakers are able to stay a few minutes late, then we can see if we have any other questions. We do have a specific one from Diane Curtis for you, Dr. Gosart, asking if there will be a Info 281 seminar in contemporary issues section for SJSU iSchool students to enroll in to assist with this archive or study this archiving.
Just email me and we'll talk about it. There are various ways of doing it. Thank you. My students are the best. A lot of work that's been done was the students.
We have quite a few folks in the chat thanking our speakers. We also have someone who asked a question, Camille. She said, for any and all speakers, thank you for an incredible conversation today. How can librarians in other nations best support their colleagues in Ukraine? And how can librarians in other nations best support Ukrainians in their communities who are struggling with these painful events? What are some culturally responsive library and information services or resources that international librarians might not be aware of?
Пані Оксана, чи можете ви відповісти на це питання?
Як можуть підтримати інші бібліотеки з інших країн українські бібліотеки? Так?
Так.
Often I have this question from our colleagues from different countries, and of course, the first, it is important that you, librarians from other countries, tell about Ukraine and Ukrainian libraries in your countries. It is very important if you will share the truth about Ukraine and about Ukrainian-Russian war. It is the first. I don't know how, because your support, your emotion, your empathy is very important for us. Of course, if you can possibility to join our libraries to the some projects to create something for our users, it will be very good also. Joint projects are very important too. I don't know, Наталя, може ви щось ще підкажете?
А я можу перекладати.
Скажем, как ей важны их эмоции. Она рассказывает.
Ну, я сказала, що інформаційна підтримка і
Інформаційна і рефлексія, я так зрозуміла.
Я зараз
Ну,
щось...
тільки так, грантові проєкти, можливо, вони якісь можуть нам запропонувати. Саме ми готові брати участь в грантових проєктах.
I know, sorry, I know. At the National Library of Ukraine, Yaroslav Mudryi National Library of Ukraine, we are collecting the special book collection on librarianship. If you can possibility to send for us the special books for librarians, it will be great opportunity for us, for Ukrainian librarians, to take some more information and have the good books for our professional growth, our professional competition. Yeah, it's also very important.
We do have another question from the chat to Yulia. Are there images from the exhibit on the destruction of libraries that was hosted in Ukraine available online to print so that they can be downloaded and exhibited anywhere?
Let us discuss this through my email, and I'll connect you with the Pani Tetiana, who's in Kherson. And I posted the link to help their library to develop collection for the blind. And we'll talk about that. They have a lot of many more images than what I've shared just because of the time. And there is also some more information about the destruction of libraries in Kherson. So let's talk about that via email.
And we have another question from in the Q&A from I apologize if I mispronounce her name, Mikola Blagovespov. Are there currently any grant projects for libraries in the Kharkiv region?
Пані Наталя, є якісь у вас там грантові проекти у Харкові? Питає Микола через чат.
Ну, він має на увазі, що чи є якісь проекти, які б реалізовувались у Харкові за підтримки американських колег. Я думаю, що так він ставить питання. Просто ті грантові проекти, які ми вже реалізуємо, вся інформація у нас є на сайті нашої бібліотеки і, я так думаю, що він це мав на увазі.
Пані Наталя, answers, are you asking about the US-supported grant projects or other projects that are already in place in the library, are all on the website of the library listed there?
Thank you.
One more, sorry. I want to say thank you to American Library Association. We had the special fundraising project from from the American Library Association for Ukrainian librarians and libraries. Thank you very much for this financial support also. Thank you.
I believe that is all of our questions at the moment. I don't think I've missed anything in the chat or in the Q&A. Thank you again for attending our panel and discussion. Thank you, speakers. We appreciate all of your hard work and your bravery in continuing to do this. during this war and these unprecedented times.
Дякую щиро всім, хто підключився сьогодні. Було дуже приємно побачити вас, пані Оксана, пані Наталя. Тримайтеся. Ви натхнення даєте. Ваша праця, як ви працюєте у умовах, в яких ви працюєте, просто дає натхнення. Не тільки мені, а моїм студентам я розповідаю про вас багато. І я просто кажу, дивіться, як наші колеги працюють. І працюють і незламні колеги. Ви даєте натхнення. Ви наше майбутнє.
Thank you. Thank you.
Тоді ми будемо вже завершувати, тоді будемо прощатися, але ми будемо на зв'язочку. Ви маєте мою пошту, і, звичайно, через мене я вас зв'яжу з ким ви хочете, з ким ми маємо зв'язок, будь ласка. І, будь ласка, будемо на зв'язку. Тримайтеся.
Бережіть себе, так, теж тримайтесь.
Дякую. I said goodbye, Christina, to our presenters and to everyone who joined us today, and we are concluding our event. We will record the event. We will have recordings available, so please reach out to me for the recordings and for further information on this event, and we hope to continue have more events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All for this.